Welcome to the Cobcast, where we uncover the truth, ignite your mindset, and explore the realms of health, wealth, and conscious living. Join me in exploring the hidden secrets of the world, unraveling the mysteries of cryptocurrency, and also cultivating a mindset for financial health. I'm your host, Chris O'Brien, reminding you that when in doubt, it's time to zoom out and see the bigger picture. So get ready for an uplifting experience to help you come out better. Welcome back to the Cobcast. This is episode 12. We're going to be talking about cryptocurrency, financial literacy, and all things money. So this is like a part two. And I don't know how many parts I'm really going to have about cryptocurrency. It is very, very, very big right now in terms of momentum and what people are picking up on and what people are waking up to. And so if you guys go back to episode 10, you can see part one of cryptocurrency. We cover all sorts of amazing things. So I'm excited to dive in. Again, I'm your host, Chris O'Brien. Remember to like, share, leave a comment, leave a review, and get this podcast out to people. This is the only way that our voices can truly be heard. And you guys will make this Cobcast truly grow. And I'm always enjoying the ability to just speak freely and to be able to share what's on my mind, the way I perceive things, perspectives I have about many topics that we cover on this Cobcast. But for today, we're really going to focus in on crypto again. We're going to talk about some basic things when it comes to zooming out on the bigger picture. We're going to talk about what ISO 20022 actually means in this monetary standards and a couple other things that I've shared in the past and on all my other channels before, whether it is like the Basel III, whether it is going back to a gold standard, just learning how our money system has worked and how slow and outdated and corrupt it has been, and also where we're going. And then we're going to dive into a little bit about what utility means compared to, let's say, memes. There's all sorts of different cryptos you can get involved with. I'm big on utility. I'm a sound investor. And I also like to play around with some meme things here and there. So we'll discuss that. We're also going to talk about this correlation between money and water. And this is a fun subject that I enjoy expressing because there's so much correlation of our monetary system and how it's run, how it's built, how it sets up, and how it flows. And literally in comparison to something like water, which it has a solid, liquid, gaseous, and plasma phase. So I'm excited to talk about that. I'm briefly also going to talk about the cash flow quadrant. This is by Robert Kiyosaki. It's a quadrant based on where a lot of you may be at today in your life. You know, there's two things that happen with crypto. It's obviously you're investing in it. So it's going to require capital, liquidity, most likely some fiat notes as you guys are learning. But what happens is we start maybe running out of liquidity. We start running out of capital. We're like, I wish I had more crypto or more money to buy crypto. I wish I had more money to invest in this or start this. And so we're going to talk about where you're at in the cash flow quadrant and how that can help you get a head start. Because remember, we're still so early, you guys. It's literally less than 6% of the planet owns crypto, and let alone knows about it. It's just picking up mainstream and it's been around for decades. So the best is truly yet to come. I'm also going to talk about something called DCA, which is a dollar cost average strategy. Now, I'm no financial advisor, of course. All of this is educational, informative, but there are different ways that you can start investing that may not break the bank or may not feel like you're losing sleep because you're worried if the price goes up or down. So DCA is called dollar cost averaging, and we're going to dive into that a little bit. And then also just making sure you guys are safe with your investments. Obviously, there's many layers to digital assets, and it is such a new asset class that even the SEC, these rogue corrupt government agencies, are trying to slow down the innovation because they have no infrastructure in place. They don't know how to regulate. They don't know how to make sure that things are in compliance and things that, you know, are not being used for negative, nefarious things. Nobody knows. This is a whole new paradigm that we're working into. So I'm excited to briefly touch on that. And I'm going to also share with you guys some favorite resources of mine, some places to look online, offline, things you can watch and read just to continue expanding your knowledge and awareness. Remember, there's action and there's knowledge, right? You learn things, you listen to things, you read, you connect dots, but then you take that and put it into action. What can I do next with the knowledge and information that I know? And just a side note, November 30th, next Saturday, depending when you're listening to this podcast, maybe in the near future, but I'm going to be doing a one-day crypto workshop as well. And remember, if you want to get started on your crypto journey, you can always go to comeoutwealthier.com, and that is a whole crypto course that I created for you. Okay, and it's got modules, it's got different topics. What is crypto? How to buy, how to sell, how to trade, how to set up your wallets, how to move crypto to your wallet, how to protect yourself. What does the future look like? There are modules, there are recorded calls we've done in the past. There are different timelines, so you can really have this zoom out lens perspective of what's actually been unfolding for the last 100 years and coming up on the future of humanity, which is really, really cool. Lastly, shout out to my guy, Josh with Crypt Pros. Okay. This is the future of finance. Okay. And you guys can go to his page at Crypt Pros, which is at CRYPROS. Tell him Cobb recommended you, right? Tell him that Cobb sent you his way. He's got amazing stuff. He's a good friend of mine. I've connected him for years now, and it's been really cool to see his growth. And he created these shirts, the future of finance, XRP, XLM, and XDC. Really, really cool. You got to rep what you sell, right? You got to be able to be invested in what you believe the future is to come. So with that said, let's dive in a little bit. So the first thing I do want to talk about, and the first thing I want to discuss here on this episode 12, is just this quick recap from episode 10. Now, we covered a lot of basics. We really touched on the foundational principles of how our monetary system has been built. And many of you know that in 1913, the Federal Reserve and income taxes, all of these things that we really don't like, was enacted. And it's only been over 100 years since everything all of a sudden flipped upside down. Slowly over time, you have wars, you have diseases, you have corruption, you have all sorts of things being established within these shadow governments. And next thing you know, we're taking off the gold standard. Gold stopped backing our financial system. We went to petro, we went to oil-based, and then we went to military backing. And now it's just belief. In this piece of paper, this fiat note, it's a debt instrument. It's not even money. It's a paper currency backed by nothing except sheer belief that it's worth $1, has decreased in value nearly below 20 cents to a point where most of the things we're purchasing today, we could afford easily way back then. And that's what happens when now all of a sudden you have the Federal Reserve that comes in and prints copious amounts of money, which inflates the supply. And when that supply gets inflated, our purchasing power goes down. So what do we experience? What manifests? What do we start to see based on this? Is we see higher prices. We see mortgage and interest rates through the roof. We see these credit card debts where they're literally charging 20 to 30% interest, burying American citizens into the ground. And then you have taxes. You got to pay income tax, sales tax, property tax, transfer tax. Heck, there's even a death tax, go figure. And there's all sorts of different schemes and methods and corruption that are finding ways to take our wealth. That's why what I truly believe, after everything I've learned and dove into, that getting involved into crypto, getting involved to a new way of moving money, of sending money, of storing value, of leveraging yourself, investing in assets, things that appreciate, where your bank account just pretty much collects dust, that the more people that can get involved in this new system and actually get involved, not just watch, not just learn, not just listen, not just guess and assume that this is going to happen or hope and pray someone comes to save you. Get involved, and you can get involved with your voice. You can get involved with your mind, your actions, and you can get involved with your dollar. People don't realize as much as this enslaves us, we have it. We can do what we want with it. We can put it in a different place. We can send it to a different company. We can invest in different products. And it doesn't have to be products that fund this corrupt, evil system. It's plain and simple. It's like we've given so much power away and we've let so many people walk over us. We've given our power to big brother government and all the people outside of us that we don't even know what our power is. We don't even know that we really can make a change, small changes over time, truly. So we have to know that the world is shifting greatly. Trump is in office, whether you like it or not, that's what's going to happen. You have to get to a point where you push this egoic lens aside of, I don't like him, or I don't agree, or I didn't vote for him, or whatever narrative you have about a character that you will never meet, most likely. Yet look at the actions, because the things that are unfolding, we'll put it simply, are so pro-crypto friendly, digital asset friendly, a whole new financial system friendly, backed by precious metals, tokenizations of bond stocks, commodities, all sorts of amazing things that are now going to be dispersed and distributed back into the hands of we the people. That's what's so cool. I hope you're excited right now. I hope you're optimistic of what is coming. The best is truly yet to come. But the thing is, you've got to be involved. You want to get close to what the change is happening now instead of later, because there's waves and waves that occur of this global change. Right? This does not happen overnight. As much as we want to just flip that switch like we talk about, it just doesn't work that way. We have to do this in waves. And each wave, you get a new chance, a new opportunity to take advantage of literally being able to secure wealth that's right at your fingertips, right from your phone, right from your laptop. There is no other time in history do we have right now than what we are experiencing and witnessing. We are just starting. We are just getting started. That's what's so exciting. So that was a little quick recap. And there's so much more I can keep going on and on about. Money is an interesting topic because it intrigues me greatly because it's so unique. It's so basic. And what they've done is they've found ways to make simple things more complex. Have you noticed that? They take simple things, whether it's in nature, whether it's about our health or about finances or about our mindset or about spirituality, and they make it very complex. They put all these fancy words, premiums, annuities, APR percentages, all these terms that the average person just doesn't even know what it means. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to just a couple of things. And it's something like an asset or a liability, right? It's something that appreciates or depreciates. That's really it, debit or credit. Really, really simple. All of these other terms that they use is just to keep the everyday person not interested, overwhelmed, or stressed out from learning how the game works. Because it is. It truly is a game. We didn't make the rules. We didn't set up the game board. But guess what? We're playing. We're in it. We're on the chessboard. We have to learn how to move effectively. We have to learn what the strategies are. We have got to learn how to pivot, how to take chances, manage our risk, take action, and also have patience. And that's what's so amazing about this time is because we are so empowered, but we really don't realize it. And that's why it's so important. So going forward, one big thing that I do want to discuss here with you guys, there's a term that's been floating around for many years where I don't know if people really grasp it. And I've learned it slowly. And at first, it was a little interesting to learn. And it's a certain standard of messaging. It's a certain way that we talk and interact with each other. Let me give you an example before I discuss it. It's like me learning English, right? I can speak English, yet I learn Spanish, but then I go to Germany and I speak to a German person who only knows German, and I start speaking Spanish. What is that German person going to look at me? He's probably going to look at me and think I'm crazy. Like, what are you talking about? What if I were to tell you much of our banking world and much of our world today experiences that all the time? Someone says something, the other person doesn't hear it. All of a sudden, they send a message back, they don't hear it, and now nothing is being translated effectively. This is the movement of energy. And so our system, we have been using a SWIFT system, which has been outdated, old, and slow. It's a dyno system that takes forever to transfer money cross border. It takes forever to create settlements where all of a sudden, by the time your transfer settles, the price could have fluctuated because of the currency inflation and all of a sudden the imbalance of global currencies where $1 is X amount of pesos, X amount of pesos is X amount of rupees. And it's a mess. It's all scattered. And Trump has said the revaluation of currencies is going to happen. We are going back to what's called a level playing field. Okay, where it's a plain level playing field slate. Everyone starts from the beginning, and now we can all build heaven on earth together. That's what's so cool about what's coming. So this term, this messaging standard that is going to be implemented not only in finance, but across the world in all sorts of different sectors and industries, it's called ISO 20022. Now, there are some obviously arguments, both good and bad, and both sides have their fair share. But I truly believe that one side is a little bit more concrete than the other, that there are certain cryptos that are ISO compliant. Okay, what are those cryptos? XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, Algorand, Quant, IOTA, and even Cardano. And so what these cryptocurrencies, which most are all based in the US, and as you know, Trump is rewarding those that he promises to have no capital gains tax for cryptos bought in the US. Hint, hint, make sure you're paying attention to that. That this ISO standard will be the most compliant standard that allows these cryptos to run on these rails to transact volume around the world, whether it's smart contracts, DeFi, proof of stake, distributed ledger technology. And I know you're probably like, what the heck is Chris saying? Don't worry. You're just going to keep learning, write these terms down. Okay. It's easy. You can Google these terms. You can learn them very quickly. But these different types of financial instruments are now going to be following a standard called the ISO 20022. Okay. International Standard of Operation. And not only that, the water I drink too is ISO certified. Get yourself a Kangen water machine. Make sure when you have plenty of crypto investments and returns, hit me up and I'll take care of you with that Kangen water. So this ISO standard is now basically is compliant. And why that's so important is because truly, if you look at the crypto market today, we live in a very uncertain market. Okay, this is not something that has years and years and years of market cycle data. It's not 100 years old like the stock market. It's not something that we can look back on and accurately predict what is happening. And you have meme coins, you have non-regulation, you have the SEC lawsuits. Let's be real. Crypto today is like the Wild West. Not a lot many people know what's going on. It's like right before the internet craze. Like, what do you mean the internet? There's resistance, there's pushback, there's fear, there's some adoption, there's lawsuits. And right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are leading the way, the blue chips, and then it falls into the altcoins, the meme coins, and the DeFi, and all sorts of low caps and mid caps and micro caps, market cap. And so, how this whole thing has been set up is we live in a very speculative market. Okay. I'm focused on the utility market. I'm focused on what is to come. I'm focused on how institutions, banking, agencies, enterprises, you name it, any financial tool or instrument, whether it's anything, how they are going to implement these utility tokens, not meme tokens, not Bitcoin, which is more of a store of value, so to speak, a proof of work where mathematical problems are being done by a computer, or you can mine it, and not Ethereum, which, by the way, if you haven't seen the latest documentary, Rigged from the Start, if you are an Ethereum holder, please go watch that and know what you're invested in. I learned this a long time ago with ETHgate, and I'm not here to push fear, uncertainty, and doubt. They call it FUD. I am here to remind you to continue to do your own research. I've gone down the XRP rabbit holes. I've seen the negative side of what could have been and what could be. I've looked at the SEC case and the smoke and mirrors. I've been rocked by the case because of what it done to my investment. I've gone through the ringer with holding XRP. Ethereum has gotten a free pass. And when you learn why and how that happened, you may look at your investment a little differently. Not financial advice. Do what you want. If you want to hold it, great. If you want to sell it, it's up to you. Just know what you hold. Know what's behind the curtain. Know what's been happening at a big scale, because there is tons of corruption. There is tons of all sorts of evil things that have been done, and manipulation and fraud. And it literally got a free pass by the government. That is scary. So please go make sure you guys watch the documentary Rigged from the Start from the website, and really keep your mind open to it, right? Keep your mind open to it, because those two are the big ones. But now what's next? What else is there? And I laugh because these, XRP, XLM, XTC, they've been around for a long time. Algorand's been around for a long time. Quant's been around for a long time. HBAR's been around for a long time. They call them dino coins. But then I look at them like, how is it a dino coin when the new market hasn't even started? Like, we haven't even started global adoption yet. We haven't even really implemented utility, let alone have infrastructure or frameworks or regulations or clarity on how banks and restaurants and businesses and corporations and companies and financial institutions and law offices and precious metal dealers, all the people that are involved in free trade around the world in finance, they don't even have any guidelines. So we haven't even started the real market. The question is, what will lead that market? And so the next thing I want to talk to you is something with utility and memes, because let's talk about meme coins for a minute. A lot of you may have heard Dogecoin. Okay, you've heard of the Dogecoin coming out years and years ago and how it's pumped up, and Elon Musk shared it and it was a whole frenzy. And then we had the SHIB, right? SHIB coin. Now you've got Bonk and Pepe and Mogcoin. You've got all sorts of these different meme coins. And now XRPL has their own meme coins that I'm involved in. And meme coins are nothing more than a gamble. They are pump and dumps. They are rug pulls. But the beautiful part about meme coins also is the culture. And it's the community, because this is the first time that people around the world have been able to come together for a common purpose, whether it's to pool money, whether it's to donate to a nonprofit, whether it's to have their voices heard, whether it's an FU to the central banks or the pharmaceutical or the government, or using it for whatever purpose it is. But the meme coin community is amazing because of the people behind it. Not the money that you can make, because there's a lot of times you won't make money. And a lot of times you'll be like, I don't like this. A lot of people have been burned in meme coins. And what happens when they get burned in it, they now resist and refuse utility. They're not interested in actually sound investments. They're not interested in what cross-border payment problems are being solved or peer-to-peer transactions, because they got burned. They put in, $500 and they went down to 10. Like, when you have something like that happen and it shakes you emotionally, of course you're going to have a sour taste. So I just want to remind you again that if you've had a bad experience before, one time or a few, it's up to you to learn from it. It's up to you to zoom out and look back and reflect on what mistakes you made, why you made them, what were you chasing, what emotional imbalances you are feeling, and how to come out better from it. Because just on the other side, there's tons of amazing opportunities. There's life-changing returns that can be made. I've seen it happen myself, going from 0 to 60,000 overnight. It's crazy stuff. But at the end of the day, though, if you are looking for a safe and sound more investment, you want to look at what's called utility. Utility is when you're using a digital asset to solve some type of problem where it's adopted, there's contracts, there's backing, there's teams. But the hard part of most of these utility aspects is they're all hidden. They're quiet. They're kept away from the mainstream. Because what does mainstream push? Bitcoin, Ethereum. Buy more Bitcoin, buy more Bitcoin. You're seeing it everywhere. Your grandma probably has heard of Bitcoin now. But now all of a sudden there's something called XRP, XLM, XDC, Stronghold. Well, what is Sologenic? What's Corium? What is Quan? What's HBAR? Hedera Hashgraph? What the heck is that? Who are they partnered with? And just because it's been quiet, these companies and these teams and these movements and these utility tokens are literally building a massive infrastructure behind the scenes. You've got to be able to look behind the curtain. You have to look through the veil, because of what they're putting up mainstream is probably the one thing they want you to focus on, while a bunch of other things happen in the background. And that's my reminder for you. Okay, you can look at the Bitcoin, Ethereum, you can look at the meme coins or some other DeFi projects, which are amazing. But I personally, this is me, I look at utility and what's going to be adopted, what's going to be used, what's been working in the background, what has partnerships and deals, what has been attacked and ridiculed, what has been price suppressed and staying low so people don't get excited about it. Where is that? That's what you want to focus on. So big difference. And you can learn more just with simple Google searches. A lot of the stuff I'm sharing, guys, little key terms, little topics, words that you may not know. As a good student, you write these things down and you go research. Go look them up yourself. Go find them yourself. We live in the age of information. November 19th, the age of Aquarius officially started, so they say. Pluto is now in Aquarius. This is the age of enlightenment, the age of information, where we can literally within seconds from our phones go right in and find anything anytime. You can even ask Siri, literally, hey, I have a question. Can you help me find the answer? And boom, in seconds, you will have all sorts of information right at your fingertips. So I'm always reminding people to be resourceful. I'm always reminding people that there is information out there that you can easily tap into without even listening to me. So much of the things that I'm sharing with you, I learned on X app. I learned on YouTube. I learned in podcasts. I learned in different books that I'm going to share with you in a little bit about my favorite resources. It's all out there. It's a level playing field. I do not like to be a gatekeeper. And that's why I openly share on my pages. I openly share on my lives. And I want to create courses. I want to give support to help you guys come out wealthier. Okay? So really important. The next thing I want to talk about is the interesting concept that money and water are very correlated. Now, let's look at water for a minute, right? It's needed for life, right? We are water beings. The way water moves and flows, maybe you've heard this before, the water, hits off a bank and it gets stuck, and currency is like the current, right, of our waters and our bodies and the world. That's why we call it currency. You have liquidity, right? On-demand liquidity, something that can be liquid instantly. Okay, if I were to give liquidity, I can buy it and sell it right now. Something could take months and weeks. That's not very liquid. Then you have cash flow, where money is coming in, it's flowing in. And then if all of a sudden, if you have any issues with your banking account or you have a criminal investigation, I hope not, but then they freeze your assets. And so we have to look at all of these different principles and wait a minute. Our financial system truly is based off water. And to go another layer deeper, well, you talk about the moon, right? And the cycles of the moon and how it affects what? The tides of the ocean. Also affects the water in our body. But what also does it affect? Some people, astrologers and people in the Wall Street and technical analysis and looking at charts, is a lot of times with full moons, super moons, new moons can affect the way that money moves. And so you have to know everything is fluid. It goes up and down. But when you zoom out, the trajectory continues to grow. So our financial system is highly based off money. Now, what happens if we start getting dehydrated? What happens if our water turns into mud? What happens when our banks get a little sloshy? What happens when the flow of water decreases? What happens when the frozen things start to melt? Well, I guess if your assets are frozen, that's a good thing. What happens when you don't have liquidity? What happens when you don't have fresh water to drink? Well, you start to get sick. You get tired, you get thirsty. And our financial systems are very, very sick and tired of thirsty. They're slow, they're outdated. There's tons of fraud, manipulation, there's fees, there's overdrafts, there's interest rates, there's income tax, there's inflation, quantitative easing, fractional reserve banking, terms that they never taught us. But it's so broken and busted that our waters have been damned. And I'll be damned, our waters have been damned. And it should piss you off. I talk to some people at times online or in person, like, yeah, whatever. There's nothing I can do. And that is the worst attitude you can have. Oh, whatever. Yeah, we'll just pay our taxes. Hey, everything's guaranteed. Death and taxes is what we got to do. Oh, yeah, I just got to work harder. I'm like, that they're printing money worth $36 trillion in debt and we'll never get out of it. And until we get out of it, everything has to pop and reset. And that's either going to benefit you or it could hurt you. And you don't care. Meanwhile, people are so lost and so deep in their stress and their anxiety and their fears. And I get it. I've been there. It's tough. The hardest thing at times with money is realizing that the money doesn't come from just working harder or doing more. It comes from the inner work. It comes from the self-reflection. It comes from the morals and values. It comes from the habits you have, the thoughts you have, how you respect and treat abundance, how you give thanks and share with compassion, maybe give without expecting or receiving. And these simple components and principles that people overlook and skip, it translates into their bank account. And they wonder, why isn't money finding me? It's so hard to make. There's not enough of it. My parents told me money is evil. So we have all of these different stories about how money works, just like we have all these stories of how water works. And we think all water is the same and not water is any different. And not some water can help me detox or antioxidize. Like, it's crazy just comparing the two. And if you guys want to follow someone who's a close person to me on Instagram, her name is Jilly. It's on Water Eris. And given her name, she connects so many codes. A lot of these codes I just shared with you briefly on this episode came from her and her channel and how she has been able to transmute and communicate amazing things when it comes to financial literacy, water, abundance, spirituality, peace, masculine, feminine, and so much more. It's pretty incredible. So go give her a follow at Water Eris. Tell her Cobb sent you, and she'll love that. So this whole notion that water is money, and we're changing our monetary system because, like I mentioned earlier in this episode, so much of our system is slow. It's outdated. In order for me to send money from X to Y to Z or A to B, it takes time, energy, and could cost fees. There could be cross-border transactions. The currencies can be off, and it takes a long time. They have found a way to stretch time. They have found a way to manipulate time by manipulating money. I mean, think about it. And this is going to take us into the next topic of the cash flow quadrant. Think about it. 80% of people in this country are employees. Now, as an employee, you're typically on a W-2, which is a salary-based compensation plan. How do you get paid? You have to do what? The 1st and the 15th of every month. Technically, you get paid 24 times out of 365 days. That is a very, very small percentage. To go even further, half of the time, 6 of those months, you're working just to pay taxes. I hope you know that. Here's the crazy part. I haven't had a job. I haven't had a job in almost 10 years. I don't have any kids. I don't have a wife. I don't have any debt. I don't have a resume. Who am I, right? Sometimes I don't even have a car when it's in the shop. But it's not about that. It's a whole new paradigm that is changing. And so when you look at what's happening and you look at the world and how many people may be struggling, you have to look at your current situation. So as an employee on a W-2 salary, we're getting taxed. But here's the thing, you're only getting paid twice a month. Why is that? Because the payroll process is outdated. Can you imagine if every hour that went by, let's say you get paid $40 an hour. And let's say you show up to work Monday, or let's say it was Friday today, or Monday tomorrow, or whenever, and you show up to work and you worked 6 hours that day and you got $40 an hour. Imagine coming home to your bank account and you see $240 dropped in as soon as you get home. Instant payment. Can you imagine if everyone got paid right away? But what happens? Here's what happens. People have to wait. and they have to wait, and they have to wait every 2 weeks to get paid. So what happens in those 2 weeks? You're tempted by the media to purchase. You've got all these scrolling things that are getting your attention. You're getting sold all types of billboards and media and ads that are really trying to get your energy because they want your dollar. And so by the time we get paid, we get $2,000, we spend it all. We finally go shopping. We go to that nice restaurant, you buy the shoes, you give it away, you spend it on this, you go party, whatever it might be. Hopefully you're investing, right? There's different audiences I'm talking to, but if you're someone that just takes your money and immediately gets rid of it, you don't invest it, you don't allocate it, you don't let it grow, you don't give it back to your health, or you don't put it in a place where it'll accumulate. A lot of us will just put it in the bank, but then the bank sits there and accumulates dust. They want you to do that. They do not tell you how to leverage your wealth. They do not tell you where to put your money for it to grow. This episode's not going to. That's way beyond what I'm going to get into here, but you want to start thinking the system is rigged against us. They're not teaching us anything except how to show up at 9 a.m., work our ass off, go to lunch, be told by the boss when they can leave, have X amount of sick days, get some nice benefits. I get it. Have a comfy insurance policy, have a commission or a salary that will always pay you regardless. Maybe get some vacation days, work until you're 60, retire, and hopefully you're healthy enough to enjoy life. That is the typical, for millions of people, routine. And if that's your routine, great. If it's not, it's time to wake up. It's time to change, because that system, in a way, through a lens, is meant to keep you trapped, stuck, docile, comfortable, and compliant. Because what happens next is, over time, years and years go by, you'll never get your time back. You'll look at your bank account, you'll see the state of the world and the economy, the $36 trillion in debt, all the taxes you've paid without having tax write-offs because you don't start a home-based business, for example, and you're literally getting scammed. We are being scammed, you guys. This is theft. This is illegal. This is unconstitutional. Inflation, money printing, the IRS. They're probably mad at me for saying all this, but it has to be said. We are being frauded. We are being scammed. It is a broken system, and it is designed this way to be broken. They want you broken. And so we have to learn these things. We have to wake up to these things. It is so, so important. And so why that matters is because the cash flow quadrant, there's 4 quadrants: employee, self-employed, independent contractor, and business owner. And so what happens is 80% of people are employees. A lot of other people are self-employed. Okay. And then you become a business owner, which then allows you to be an investor. There's literally someone at my door right now. This is the middle of the podcast. What is she doing? I'm not sure what's going on. Someone's at my door ringing. We're going to keep going. This is raw uncut. I'm not editing this, by the way. I think she's going to leave. Maybe she works for the government. Maybe she doesn't like what I'm saying. So the cash flow quadrant was created by Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, so in the top right corner is the employee quadrant, where you're exchanging time for your money. This is so important because the bottom right is the investor. Okay, the investor is where you can start to invest in digital assets or precious metals. So as an employee, you are trading your time for money. In order to get paid, in order to get your salary, you have to clock in and clock out. You have to give up your life force, your labor, your physical labor, your intellectual IP, your energy, and your time in order to get a piece of paper backed by nothing that they can print out of oblivion, $36 trillion of it, and they still need taxes for you. Why do we need taxes if you can print money? If you want money from us, why don't you just print more? Then we won't have to give you ours. Just print more and use that for taxes. But is that too logical for the common mind? And so as an employee, we're trading our time for money. And then self-employed, very similar, trading our time for money. We have a little bit more flexibility though. And then as a business owner, now you own a system or a business. That system or business allows you to build things. It allows you to work with people, leverage your time. Now you're starting to get a little bit more freedom in your life. And then once you start to generate cash flow, you become an investor. So a lot of people are stuck in one quadrant, and to jump over to the other side, well, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of factors that we just don't know. And then as you grow your cash flow, the goal eventually is to be an investor, where you have your money work for you. And that's what crypto can do for you if you do it correctly. Crypto can be something, digital assets, there's all sorts of different terms, tokenization, on-demand liquidity, all of these different principles can potentially work for you. So while you're sleeping, while you're going to the store, while you're at dinner or visiting your grandma or hanging out with your friends, you can go check your investments and it could go up a couple $1,000. Can you imagine going to the beach making $2,000? You could never do that as a typical employee. You get fired. You would get fired, or you would have to steal money to do that. And so this employee mindset has trapped so many people. And that's why entrepreneurs, creators, YouTubers, podcasters, just like you're watching here with me on social media, that has built my empire. That has given me unbelievable amounts of wealth, just social media alone. And so when we look through this lens on the cash flow quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, it's a great book, by the way. Highly recommend all of his things. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, he's big on Bitcoin, but hopefully he's got some XRP. But he really shines light on a lot of things that our current education system, the Rockefeller system, Rothschild, Rockefeller, hand in hand, they don't want you to learn. They want you to be a nation of workers, not thinkers. Can you start thinking critically? If you start asking questions, if you start opening up your mind and questioning the narrative, you're on your way to a life on your dreams. You're on your way to a life that you can create for yourself. And that's what it's all about. At least that's what it's all about for me. Sovereignty, freedom, and being able to do what I want with who I want, when I want, how I want it, without money being in the way. Can you imagine? You want to go on a vacation? Go. You want to pay something off? Pay it. You want to donate? Donate. You want to gift someone? Gift it. Flat tire? No problem. Car broke down? Here, I got money to fix it. Emergency? Got it. No stress. No problem. Can you imagine living life that way? What would that do for you? Because then eventually, as you become that investor, you can now start having money work for you. And that's why it's so important. Okay. So now let's say you start to generate more wealth. You open a part-time home-based business, and let's say you start a side job, you start driving Uber, you start whatever it is to generate more wealth for yourself. Maybe make some books, courses. You go on Google, 100 ways to make money in 2024. There are so many ways. It's crazy. What I do is high ticket sales, by the way. So if you do want to look for an opportunity that you could take advantage, that is focused on health and focused on wealth, together, creating solutions for the world, send me a message privately and I can show you what we're doing. Because this opportunity that I've been doing for about 7 years has been able to fund all of my crypto investments, all of my precious metal investments, all of my other investments that I'm in, and companies I've built and businesses I've started and people I have been able to coach and mentor just because I said yes to myself years ago. It was very scary. I left a personal trainer. I was self-employed before that. I was an employee at a commercial finance company, became an entrepreneur, became a business owner, and now I'm an investor. So I've worked my way around that cash flow quadrant, and I've seen the pros and cons, the ins and outs of every quadrant, where I'm just going to stay right here in this investor one. I'm going to have my money work for me. Here's my employee. What I should do is I should get a little piece of paper and I should draw a little tie, a smiley face, a tie, and a briefcase. Here, I got millions of these guys going to work. They're all working for me. They're all working for me. And that's how we want to start to think. And so now let's say you start to have some extra income, because there's many ways to invest. Now let's start putting this all together. Let's say you want to get involved in crypto. Where do I start? I get these questions all the time. Chris, should I spend $10,000? Should I just put $5,000 right now? And I say, well, hold on. What do you know about what you're investing in? Like, if that disappeared tomorrow, are you fine? Like, well, that's my rent. I'm like, well, okay, hold on. And so there's so many levels to what it means to be an investor. I'm not here to share it all on this episode. You can go to my course, comeoutwealthier.com. I have hours and hours of calls, modules, and topics that can break that down even further. But one thing I am going to share with you is something called dollar cost averaging. And this is a simple way that you can get your foot in the door. You can get yourself in the market. They don't say, here's the famous quote is, it's not when you get in the market, it's how long you've been in it. Imagine if you've been putting $5 a day in something since 2020, regardless of price, you are up bigger than any bank account could ever offer you. And you might not even know what you're doing. That's what's so crazy about this. So dollar cost averages every day. Let's say you put $10 into XRP. Let's say yesterday it was 60 cents. The next day it's 62 cents. The next day it's 62 cents, and then 60 cents, and then 65 cents. You're not trying to chase all of a sudden these lows and buys and highs and sells and all these things. You're just putting $10 in a day. where no matter what price, you're going to slowly start to accumulate. And after a month, you're going to look back and be like, wow, I have a couple thousand XRP. Now XRP hits $1. You're like, huh, wait a minute. My $10 a day now just made me $5,000. And now XRP hits $1.50 like it did recently. Wait a minute. My $10 a day that I didn't even know I was putting in, I forgot I was doing it, right? It's one Starbucks or one smoothie or one sandwich a day. I was putting in daily, and all of a sudden, price had just jumped. There's more adoption utility, and now that couple $100 is now a couple $1,000. Where and what bank account can you get that return? What stock can move that fast? You get what I'm saying? So dollar cost averaging is a great way with low risk. And it's not like it's going to be a high reward now, but over time, think long term. There's short term and long term investing, plain and simple. There's all sorts of other types, short term and long term. People that need money now that will buy and sell and trade, day trade to get money now. Long term investors will continue to accumulate. Price goes up and down. They may look at certain entry and exit points, maybe, but for most people, they're going to accumulate. And dollar cost averaging is one of the best ways to do that. Okay, so look into that. Definitely tap in. It's going to be very helpful. Not financial advice, but it's definitely a method to get you in the market of where the world is going without losing sleep or stressing out. Did I make the right move? Should I have waited? You have to realize that sometimes types of investing strategies, especially in crypto, which is still so volatile, meaning it can go up and down quickly, can be very emotional. And you have to check those emotions. It's so, so important. Okay, so now let's say you start to accumulate some digital assets. You got to protect it. One of the first things I was taught, and I spent thousands of dollars paying someone to coach me on all this. Everything I'm teaching you, I paid someone thousands and thousands of dollars back in 2020 to learn all of this stuff because there wasn't the podcast out yet. There wasn't the big channels. People were just talking about crypto. People were just buying Bitcoin still early. XRP was in a lawsuit. No one wanted to touch it. So I was like, shoot, what do I do here? How do I make this work? And so a lot of my time went into coaching and investing. And one of the most important things that I learned early on was security. Because if your crypto is on an exchange, it still ain't yours. Too many times you have seen it. FTX, Luna, there's all Celsius, all of these other different crypto exchanges that said they were safe, thought that you were good, you were fine, collapsed. And you never got the money back. They're slowly starting to pay some, but so many people that I know lost thousands and hundreds of thousands just because they were scammed. So when you buy a digital asset, unless you're going to sell or trade it immediately or very soon, that's your risk and reward ratio, risk management. My recommendation, this is simple recommendation, is to get it into a digital stored wallet. Okay, whether it's a hot wallet like online. So Xaman, XAMAN, is a hot wallet for your XRP projects. And then there's a cold wallet, and that's like a physical ledger, okay, like Nano Ledger S, Descent Wallet. Make sure you purchase these from the actual manufacturer, not Amazon. Do not resell or rebuy these from other third-party sellers. You have to go from the manufacturer because there's a lot of hacking, a lot of corruption, and security is everything. Once you get your wallets, you set up your accounts, you have your you have your passwords or your key codes. Those are really the keys to your vault. Like this wallet's a vault, and then you have those protected and safe. That's it. That's as simple as I can make it. When you buy your crypto, if you're storing long term, don't leave it on the exchange. Get into a secure wallet. Make sure that wallet's protected. Because here's the thing: a lot of you complain about the government, pharmaceuticals, central banking, the media, this and that. You're projecting, blaming. I get it. It's annoying. But here's the thing, you have to start taking accountability for your wealth. You have to start taking accountability. You cannot just rely on your bank to protect your crypto because they are not going to. They are protecting your fiat notes because that's the system and business that they're in. It's big business your bank is. Your bank is not a place where you hold your money. A bank is where they take your money so they can lend it out to make money. That's what a bank is. We just think a bank is a place where we cozy it in our vaults. We got it all there. If I need, I can go get it anytime. It's false. Look up fractional reserve banking. Okay. People need to wake up to this ASAP. Money is so multidimensional. So protect yourself. Okay. Have the security, have the stability, protect yourself, especially as things continue to grow. All right. Now, some favorite resources as I wrap this episode up, and I pray you got some value here. One of my favorite books, by the way, is 3 Steps of Quantum Wealth by Linda P. Jones. It's amazing, amazing, amazing. You could search it. You could buy it on Amazon. It's an amazing book. I read it years ago. It's still relevant today. Buy it, read it now, thank me later, especially if you're someone that likes to read literature. Another option for resources, like I said, I have a crypto course, comeoutwealthier.com. Okay, if you're in our community, the Wakewater Co community, please message me and I can give you a discount code. But it'll have the modules, topics, calls, timelines, everything you need to know to learn to get your crypto journey started. Other resources, okay, listen up. One option is you go to YouTube. I know this is going to sound a little odd, but trust me on this. Go to YouTube and you're going to search Bonfire Guy. And it's going to be a guy sitting playing a guitar. You're like, what the heck does this have to do with anything? Go to that page, go to videos, and go all the way down to the first one. There's about 40 of them. And watch every single one starting at the first one. These were created 4 years ago, and they are relevant 4 years ago and today more than ever. Okay, all the way you go through all those episodes, you'll know exactly what's actually happening when it comes to the financial shift. Okay, obviously you guys know I have my social media pages, my Come Out Wealthier channels, my Telegram, my website. There's so much more, but I would start those two places. Listen to these podcasts and then dive into XApp. That is another amazing resource. Yes, Elon Musk has it. Yes, you may not agree with everything. Remember, you cannot let the external world dictate or throw off your future and your goals. Take advantage of it. Look at what is possible, not what you don't like. So if you go to XApp, you can start following some big accounts that share crypto, XRP, XLM, ISO News, the new financial system. They're so good. They spend hours. I don't spend hours like this creating videos like this to help you. I just don't. I don't have the capacity just to sit down and record this in my busy day is something I want to make sure you guys have. But other than that, there are people that spend their whole day, like a 9 to 5, clips, articles, all sorts of amazing things, Black Swan Capitalist, Digital Perspectives, Coach JV, so many. So if you want to know, you can go to Come Out Better's XApp account at Come Out Better and look who I'm following and follow those people with crypto, XRP, money, anything in the name, follow them. And have XApp be a running feed for you. You just got to immerse yourself in the culture. Baby steps. If this is a lot, go up baby steps. But for some of you, you can bite off a little bit more. You're going to be okay. The best is truly yet to come. And if you want an immersive interaction, November 30th, depending on when you're watching this podcast, November 30th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Zoom, I'm hosting a full day workshop, about 3 to 4 hours, all on the basics. So get involved, reach out. I'll share you the link to join. It's free, donation based, but I want to give you guys as much as I can because I've seen people just in the last few weeks of Trump becoming the president-elect with thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in returns by investing in things that they took a leap on, that they learned about, discovered, connected the dots, and came out wealthier with. I pray this helped. Episode 12, I pray this gave you some insight. Go back to episode 10 to really dive in and really connect the dots with it. Share this, like, subscribe. We'll see you guys on episode 13. And as always, the best is truly yet to come.